My name is Ariel Nessel. I'm here in India because I was invited to join Animal Equality for their investigation into how animals were raised here for the production of meat, dairy, and eggs, and as well as to bear witness to the suffering of what is conventionally known as animal agriculture. At some of the facilities we went to, the animals didn't really die. They just suffered to death. They suffered from the ammonia in the air that was eating at their lungs, from the genetics they've been chosen through that made them grow much more quickly than their bones could allow and inclined heart attacks as babies. They suffered through watching the deaths of those around them. They suffered from the separation from their moms. They suffered through the pain that comes from not being able to express any basic need. More vegetarians, I believe, in India than the rest of the world combined. And there's an aversion here towards eating cows. You know, they see cows are sacred. I find it to be a beautiful thing. And that's beginning to change as the country modernizes. But the converse of that is that if you just see the cow as sacred, but not the chickens, and you just eat chickens, you're probably eating 100 times more animals than if you were eating cows. So what you see here, which is a much smaller scale than others, is a large shed with thousands of chickens in it. And about 8 weeks they'll be fully grown. And at that point they will be slaughtered for food. So these animals will be their whole life, entire life. It's worth less than $5 to someone. I wanted my friend Amruta to show me these farms in India.
When we see the entire cycle of production of chickens in India, it's more or less similar to what happens in countries like US. They are fed hormones, they are fed antibiotics as growth promoters. They are handled in the most cruel manner. They are not fed the right kind of food or the right kind of veterinary treatment. Sometimes there's no veterinary treatment at all. There are a lot of other cruel and illegal practices. They are slaughtered in roadside shops, which is completely illegal and needs to be stopped.
It's strange to be visiting India to investigate the ways that animals are raised for food here, in a system that's growing here of factory farming, and in a diet that's more and more becoming meat-centric, from a country that originated the vegetarian diet and brought us the practice of ahimsa, that is now copying my country's practices of ultra-confinement of animals, of increased efficiency in the way we treat animals in the production of these foods, and of a diet that is grossly overweighted towards eating of meat, eggs, and dairy. These were the perfect conditions for bacteria to thrive and diseases like salmonella to take root. India is considering banning these cruel confinement practices known as battery cages. Factory farming has no place in a civilized society.
उनकी वेदना हमारी वेदना बनती है, सम सम वेदना। आपकी वेदना जब मेरी वेदना बनती है तो सम सम वेदना से संवेदना पैदा होती है। तो वो संवेदना सहज भाव से पैदा होती है और उसका शेयरिंग भी उस भाव से ही होता है। जैसे मैंने आज 5 लोगों को शेयर किया कि यार मैं कल गया था तो ये अंडे जब निकलते 1.5 साल या 2 साल 2 इयर्स वो मुर्गी को खाना है और इससे सारा निकल जाता है, अंडा देती है, वो तो बेचारी खाती है, जाती है टॉयलेट जाती है और अंडा देती है, और हम उसको एक्सप्लॉइट इतना करते हैं, इसका इतना पेन, इतना इतना सफरिंग, और वो फिर अंडा निकलता है। तो मुझे तो यार ऐसा लगा कि मैं तो ना खाऊं।
So if cows are held to be sacred, and this is how they live, as a creature that is so worthy of consideration, what does that say about how we treat creatures that are considered sacred?
The moment I went to the farm, I have seen that all of these animals, how they treated, and the conditions, the process of all these dairy products, which really shocked me a lot. But I was completely blindfolded with that process, how it comes, and to see them in prisons, which really shocked me a lot.
This calf is, we were just told, 15 days old. And they don't feed it. And because of that, it will die, he said, in a couple of days. And it's interesting because what they won't do is send their cows to slaughter because they think that's really bad. But they'll tie up a baby cow to slowly starve to death. I asked the dairy owner what his favorite part of the job was. He said serving the animals. Ironically, just a few feet away, there are some stuffed animals. These were baby calves that had recently died, and he had cut off their legs and filled them with hay and put them next to their mothers in hopes of inclining the mothers to produce more milk, thinking that their baby was still alive.
है ना, कितना पेन है उनको फ्रीडम चाहिए, लेकिन जो फ्रीडम नहीं मिल रही है तो वो बहुत दुखद है। मैं ऐसा मानता हूँ कि जहाँ फ्रीडम नहीं है वो दुखद है। ऐसे कई जगह पर आज गाय के लिए हो रहा है, लेकिन पहले कल्चर में ये नहीं था। इसको पवित्रता के साथ जोड़ा था, एक परिवार के साथ जोड़ा था। हमारे ऋषियों ने भी गाय को एक माँ का स्वरूप दिया था। तो जैसे माँ बच्चे को दूध देती है, ऐसे गाय भी देती है। उसके साथ रोजगारी तब नहीं थी, परिवार का एक सदस्य था। और जब रोजगारी बनी, जहाँ ग्रीड बढ़ती है, जहाँ फियर बढ़ता है, वहाँ फिर एक्सप्लॉयटेशन आता ही है, वहाँ सेपरेशन आता ही है ना। तो मेरी दृष्टि से पहले सेपरेशन नहीं था, परिवार था। अब कुछ पाना है, कंजम्पशन की वृत्ति आई। जहाँ कंजम्पशन की वृत्ति आती है, ग्रीड आती है, वहाँ वो प्रिंसिपल दिखते नहीं है। जानते हैं लेकिन अवेयर नहीं है।
So we're at the fish market here, the largest fish market in Hyderabad. And usually the way people like to buy their fish here is they have it alive just enough to prove that it's fresh. And so they pack it in ice, and the fish remarkably can stay breathing in very small amounts of water when it's really cold. As you walk through the market and you saw the water that was being used to clean the fish was contaminated with what looked like in cases like feces, the bodies of other dead fish that had long ago been disseminated, under the fish that were laying on the ground. It's very easy to be desensitized to the pain of fish. They don't look like us, they don't move like us. We can't discern their emotions. They don't speak in a way that we can follow. But when you see a live fish being held down by a child who didn't know any better and slightly beaten, but not at all close to being killed, and then skinned alive, you really get to see how problems indoctrination we have into animal agriculture is. Visiting these places brings immense gratitude to me for the investigators. At one point, our safety was in great danger, and I realized these investigators go through this almost every day. At one point, as we were walking through a slaughterhouse filled with hundreds of men in every direction, grabbing sheep and goats by the ears, by the legs, hoisting them up and slaughtering them, it became clear to us that they were murmuring. They were asking, they were saying things like, "We're shooting YouTube. They're going to post something on WhatsApp." And so there's this difficult decision we had to make. How much longer could we capture the footage to disclose what was really going on there? And how much longer could we stay there until our safety was at great risk? It took a few more minutes of footage, and we could hear what was going on around us, thankfully from our translator. And then we got out of there just in time. Blood on the floor, animals fighting for their lives, other animals looking on in horror as to what awaited them next. Mahatma Gandhi said, "The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be demonstrated by the way it treats its animals." Looking at the way my country, the United States, the country of India treats its animals, greatness is not something I would use to describe.
I think we collectively need to open our eyes, because as an Indian, I don't know even, I have been so many times in this kind of farms or animal husbandry. I have seen lots of people to see there as a livelihood, but underneath I was missing this suffering. So how we can participate in or joining to just be aware or just waking up our eyes.
लेकिन एनिमल्स तो मूंगे है, वो तो उसके सहज स्वभाव में है, उसमें राइट्स एंड ड्यूटी नहीं, वो तो अपने सहज स्वभाव ड्यूटी में ही है, इसलिए उसको तो मिलना ही चाहिए। वो तो कभी राइट्स मांगने आते ही नहीं है, वो तो सरेंडर करते हैं। और प्रकृति को हम डिस्टर्ब करेंगे, वो नेचर को हम डिस्टर्ब करेंगे तो हमारा फ्यूचर बिगड़ेगा ही। आवर नेचर इज़ आवर फ्यूचर, और नेचर में एनिमल है, पेड़ है, पानी है, वो 5 एलिमेंट्स है ना?
It's very clear to me which one of those practices, those ways of eating, support the world I want my children to grow up in, support the way I want humans' hearts to grow in.